Welcome to the channel, viewers. This is Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. We're going to speak on the subject, covert emotional incest, with a little bit more foresight than usual. We're going to read an article. Grab a coffee, tea, wine, cone, tablet, whatever your thing is. This is going to teach you either way. Grab your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your partner, your husband, your wife, sit down. Enjoy this teaching. Let's get into it, guys. How to recognize and heal from emotional incest. This article is written by Jana Brito, PhD, and reported on by Crystal. There's the information there anyway. It's current. Viewers. Oh well, 23rd of 2022. How to recognize and heal from emotional incest. Emotional incest is also called covert incest. Describes an unhealthy family dynamic where a parent relies on their child for emotional and practical advice and support. Despite the name, it doesn't involve physical sexual abuse. Incest refers to inappropriate emotional closeness. Emotional incest can also happen unconsciously, unlike physical incest. Often parents who foster this dynamic don't realize how their actions affect their child, and they also don't intend to cause harm, explains Catherine Hardy-Williams, a licensed marriage and family therapist in Tigard. Yes, this behavior can still cause significant pain, not to mention disrupt healthy development. In fact, some experts say that physical and emotional incest can have similar long-term effects on child development. Wow. In the dynamic of emotional incest, your parents treat you not as a child, but more like a romantic partner. Instead of providing appropriate parental guidance and helping you to get your emotional needs met, they might rely on you for, number 1, comfort and company when they feel lonely or sad. Number 2, help navigating financial concerns. Number 3, advice on navigating conflict at work or in their personal relationships. Number 4, loyalty to them rather than the other parent or partner or their partner. In the beginning of this dynamic, might leave you with a heightened sense of maturity and shared closeness. You can recognize on some level that your parent tells you things adults generally don't share with children. You could feel privileged or even special. But yeah, they say that physical sexual incest demoralizes you, but covert emotional incest grandizes you. By taking on the role of partner as a child to your parent, where you support or even parent your parent. See, sometimes a child can become the parent. You effectively lose the role of child. As a result, your essential social and emotional needs may go unmet, something that can have major consequences, long life mental and emotional well-being. Recognizing emotional incest. You with me, viewers? While plenty of expert organizations and mental health professionals recognize emotional incest as a concern, research on the topic remains limited. Currently, there's no accepted set of criteria used to identify emotional incest because not many people know about it, viewers. Not many people realize how dangerous and abusive this is. I know because I've seen it. I've spent 25 years in relationships with these people. I know what it's about. I've seen how damaging and harmful this is to the adult children and the parent. It destroys everything around it, viewers. Believe me when I say. I'm not on a witch hunt. I'm trying to educate people about this. I've seen 3 or 4 of my partners, I've just had to walk away. They lose their way. Let's see what this says anyway. Currently, there's no accepted set of criteria used to identify covert emotional incest. Acknowledging the lack of research, Turkish researchers created a childhood emotional incest scale to help assess childhood experiences of emotional incest in adults. So obviously there's a lot of people that are concerned about this, and the first section, surrogate spouse, includes 6 statements along these lines. Number 1, when problems or challenges come up, you had to act with more maturity than your parents. Number 2, you found yourself giving advice to your parents when they had romantic difficulties. Number 3, when your parents argued, you found yourself taking sides or expected to take sides and defending one of them. Number 4, when your parents argued, you had to step in and help them resolve things. Number 5, your parents turned to you instead of their partner or another adult to unburden any feelings of emotional distress they experienced. And number 6, after an argument or conflict with the other parent, your parents turn to you for comfort and support. And this happens every day, viewers. See, as parents, we don't realise how mentally disabling this is on our children. The second section, unsatisfactory childhood, includes 6 statements along these lines. Number 1, to help maintain family harmony, you took on responsibilities in childhood that weren't age appropriate. Number 2, you recognized that you couldn't fully enjoy your childhood. Number 3, the needs of your parents took priority over your needs. Number 4, you envied the relationships your friend had with your parents. Number 5, you realized you had to mature or grow up sooner than your peers to better support your parents. And number 6, you had to consider or even manage household responsibilities for your parents. To complete this self-report, you respond to each item on the scale with a number between 1, never, and 5, always. The researchers developed this scale with input from experts and tested it by conducting studies with 2 different samples of university student participants, 319 students and 415 students respectively. The study does have a few limitations, including the fact that it only involves samples of university students. Still, it does offer the first research-backed method of measuring emotional incest, so it could play an important part in identifying this unhealthy dynamic and helping you find the right kind of support. So there are ways of fixing this, viewers, and identifying it. Emotional incest versus enmeshment. Enmeshment, a similar dynamic, involves patterns of extreme closeness between family members. On the surface, this closeness might seem positive, even beneficial, but it's not the same as family cohesion or healthy closeness, and it can become quite confining. Like emotional incest, enmeshment involves few boundaries or heavy blurred boundaries within the family relationship. It often keeps family members from establishing their own identities and recognizing and meeting their own individual needs. But while enmeshment can characterize the family relationship as a whole, emotional incest tends to show up more specifically in the relationship between a parent and one child. Examples of emotional incest. The examples below can help illustrate how it might show up in everyday life. Seeking assurance. Your parents got divorced 2 years ago when you were 8 years old. Your mum frequently complains about your dad's rudeness and lack of consideration when it comes to his weekends with you. He's never on time to pick you up or bring you back. I don't know why he thinks I have all day to wait around, but it's rude to you too. It's like he doesn't care about you, she says. After venting, she usually turns to you and asks things like, "It makes you happy when I show up on time, right? You know I love you and care about you the most." I'm a great mum to you, right? Do you tell him what a good parent I am? And this is looking for self-validation through the child. When you feel a little uncomfortable because you love both your parents and don't really mind when your dad's a little late, you know he'll get there eventually, but you always tell your mum she's the best because you know it makes her feel better. So what happens is you start to give in to the manipulations of the parent and lose your way of discerning and being honest about things. It's just you and your parent at home, and they rarely spend time with friends. In fact, they really don't go anywhere else besides work. They often tell you, I have you, so I don't need anyone else. You're my whole world. Now that you're old enough to use the stove, your nightly routine involves making dinner as they sit at the table with a cup of tea and tell you what happened at work that day. See, this is how they mimic the child as a partner. They often call their job demanding and stressful, and their co-workers don't seem very nice either. They sometimes say, I just don't know what to do anymore. What do you think? This is where the parent starts to look for counsel and therapy from the child. You don't know exactly what to say, but you try to offer suggestions based on your conversations with school friends. You feel bad that they have a job that makes them so unhappy. You feel a little guilty since you know they keep that job because it lets them come home to you at night. So you do everything you can to help them out, even though you wish you could do things like visit your friends after school, come home and talk about your day, or sit down and do your homework while they make dinner for you. We'll read this last section and then we'll do a part 2. Blurred boundaries, and this seems to be the biggest problem. You and your dad do everything together. He often calls you his other half. Sometimes you miss school because he takes you on work trips and lets you hang out in the hotel during his conferences. You also get to go to parties with his friends where you get to dress up and eat interesting food. He offers you small glasses of alcohol from time to time, even though you're only 16. You don't love the taste, but you take it anyway. It makes you feel grown up, and you don't want to lose his approval. When it's just you two, you have long talks about current events in the world. He gives you lots of details about his past relationships, some you don't particularly want to know, and says he wants to know everything when you find someone special. See, this is where boundaries get blurred and crossed. Your friends at school complain about their parents grounding them when they fail an exam and seem impressed that you don't even have a bedtime and can use your phone and computer whenever you want. But you secretly want your dad to set some more rules. He doesn't seem to care about your schoolwork at all. If you got in trouble at school, you suspect he'd probably just laugh and turn it into a story he tells his friends. Sure, you have a lot of fun together, but you also wish he'd act less like a friend and more like a parent. And this happens all the time, viewers. Parents become the friends of their children rather than parenting them. Up ahead in the next section, we're going to look at why does emotional incest happen, learning parent styles, cultural and social economic factors, and potential effects. So please join me, viewers, in the next session on covert emotional incest. We'll just see what the heading of this top. How to recognize and heal from it. How to recognize and heal from covert emotional incest will be part 2 in our next talk. Thank you for joining me. This is Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. Bye for now.